materials. As you can see, I have a whole new filming setup, new lights, new camera, so hopefully from now on my videos will be able to be shot at night time and when the weather isn't so great. So consider this a trial. I'm still kind of trying to figure out what would be the best way to set up my lights and set up my my camera, so bear with me through that. I want to say thank you very, very much, because I wouldn't have been able to buy all this stuff were it not for this money I earned with YouTube. So yeah, this is all the money I've earned in a year and a half spent on camera gear to improve the quality of my videos. So hopefully that'll pay off and my videos will look a bit better, and I really hope you guys like this. This week I wanted to make a fabulous sort of 1920s flapper headband. Also very perfect for Christmas or New Year's parties, so let's get cracking. For this you will need a nice piece of lace. I have this white lace here. And with this lace, which is nice because it has all these holes, I'm going to weave a little ribbon through it, and this is a light blue ribbon, but you can pick any colour you want obviously. You will need some feathers, fluffy sort of feathers, and you will need a couple of different sizes, and the colours are obviously optional, whichever you prefer. I'm also going to use this little pearl chain. You will need a jewellery plate, something like this. I like this because you can sort of cut it to a fan shape, and that's sort of what I want. I've also drawn out a design on a piece of paper and made that into a little sequenced fan. Now seriously, I can tell you, after doing this, I have immense respect for 1920s dressmakers who used to sequence all these dresses, because seriously, this was a lot of work, I can tell you. As tools you will need a hot glue gun, some glue, some pliers, scissors, and needle and thread. And optional, you can also add jams or any kind of sparkly bits you would like. And in order to make this go on easy, you can either stitch 2 ribbons to the end or a little bit of elastic. Elastic is probably easier, but I only have black elastic left, so I didn't want to put a black elastic on this really nice kind of lace, so I'm going to be using 2 pieces of white ribbon. Alright, I'm going to start off by cutting my little jewellery plates to a fan shape. I've already started on this. You just need your pliers and a little bit of patience, and you can just curve this backwards and cut just there. And you can either glue this down or stitch it down, whichever you prefer, and I'm going to cut this to size later. My hot glue gun is hot, so I'm gonna now use this. Put a little blob on the back of this. Like so. I'm gonna start by putting this small little blue ribbon through my lace. By the way, I'm so happy I now have a white desk to show you things like this on, even though I'm working with a white material. It's maybe not the best. I think it's probably easier to see than on the black beat up surface that I was using before. By the way, if you want to make this easier on yourself, you can use a safety pin. Now I have the ribbon through there. I will start sewing 2 bits of ribbon to the end so I can tie it behind my head. Obviously I've already cut the lace to size, and I'm sewing this so it's also going through this blue ribbon, so that's immediately attached as well. And I'm using a contrasting thread here so you can see what I'm doing. Obviously you can take a white one if you don't want it to be very obvious. Now the way I'll be wearing this, I'll probably have my hair over it anyway. As you can see, I've attached the ribbon to both sides. And now what you want to do is maybe try it on and figure out where you want the placement of your accessory to be. I'm just going to mark that with a pin. or actually in this case a needle, because I don't have a pen at hand. And what you want to do is arrange your feathers so they curve in the direction that you want them to curve. Now I'll be putting these on the left side of my head, so I'm gonna arrange them so they look good like that. I'm squeezing some of the hot glue onto the back of my little fan, and I'll start arranging them in the way I want. You may have to add a little bit more as you go along. Now with needle and thread, I'm going to stitch this lot onto my lace. So look where you marked it before. Place your fan a little bit at an angle and start stitching it down. Now comes the fun part. We're going to attach some shinies to this. I'm just placing them in place first to see where I want them. And then when I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to take some jewellery glue and stick those down. See what that looks like? Of course, this wouldn't be sort of 1920s stuff if I didn't add also some sparkles. So I have some very small little rhinestones here that I'm also going to place in this design. For picking these up, I'm using a cotton swab. What I'm doing here is I'm placing a little bit of glue just where I want my rhinestone to be. And then I'm placing the little rhinestone with the other end of the cotton swab, which I made a little bit wet. And that's what that looks like, with the little gems in there. And as a finishing touch, I'm going to use a little bit of this blue pearl chain. You should figure out how long you want your piece to be and how many of these chains you want. Cut them to size. So with a little needle and thread, work your way around and through the lace and stitch on those chains. I've added one little small pink rhinestone here at the middle, and I stitched on these two chains. Now as a finishing touch, I'm going to add a little dangling we call this bead to the bottom. I'm just going to stitch that on, and I'm going to repeat that 3 times. So I'm going to go through the bead 3 times in order to make sure it's absolutely secure. And that is what that looks like now. Obviously I'm going to model this for you, but I first want to put on a little bit of makeup before I show you the end result. And this is me with my entire 1920s hair and makeup done. I really hope you enjoyed this craft tutorial for making this 1920s headband. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and check out my social media. And I really hope to see you next time. Bye everyone!